Hi, y'all, and welcome to Monday Night's Treasure Vortex with Gypsy from YouTube Zero Discrimination, myself, Amanda Jager Degaz, and our first special guest under our new name, Treasure Vortex, Gregg Papallo. Just a couple housekeeping items before we actually start the show, like get into the nitty gritty of the show. If you were on the show last week and you won a prize pack, congratulations. But could you please email tv.treasurevortex@gmail.com and get us your address? That way we can get your prize pack in the mail. Yeah, so again, congratulations to everybody last week. It was a lot of fun, and glad to have our first guest tonight. But before we bring him on, hey Gypsy, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you, Amanda?
I am doing well. I'm cold, but well.
Well, as long as you're doing good and feeling good, that's what counts.
True,
But
true.
I guess with the weather, though, I know you've been getting snow there and everything. And today it was a little cooler today, but I wasn't able to get out like I was hoping to. So unfortunately, hopefully I'll be able to have some time tomorrow, but I've just been trying to get ready for my trip that I'll be leaving for later this week. So hopefully I'll get to do some beach detecting and while I'm in Mexico. So looking forward to the cruise, and hopefully I'll have some videos coming out when I come back from there. Hopefully I'll find something. But anyway, I do plan on, though, remember when I was up there in Maine visiting you, and we were there for our hunt at Digstock, and then afterwards, that last day before I flew back, you and I went on a little treasure hunt.
Yeah, we went mudlarking.
We went mudlarking. Amanda took me to one of her favorite little mudlarking spots, a couple of them actually, and we found a few goodies. And so it's a very short video, but I've got it all edited and ready to go. So tomorrow, hopefully around noon my time, or actually closer to 11 my time, so be looking for a premiere tomorrow. I'm going to try to make it around lunch, since some of you will be on your lunch break, and maybe y'all can catch the premiere of our little mudlarking adventure while I was up in Maine visiting you. So
Awesome.
I will try to premiere that tomorrow. So y'all be looking for that notification. If you're not a subscriber to my YouTube channel, Zero Discrimination, I would love it if you would subscribe and click that button so you can get that notification for any premieres or videos I'll be doing in the upcoming. I sure appreciate y'all. Anyway, so what about you with the weather? Were you able to get out this week?
No, that would be a negative. This weekend kind of flew by between the freezing rain and the freezing. I chose not to get out. It kind of stinks because that is like how I clear my brain. And I look forward to it, and I didn't get to do it after work at all last week, and I didn't. Usually my weekends are my reprieve. I at least get out for an hour or two, and yeah, nothing. So I'm chomping out the bit to kind of get out this weekend, but I know that tomorrow is supposed to be in the negatives. Tonight is in the negatives, and yeah, hopefully it warms up a bit and I can get into the woods, but what are you going to do?
Right. Well, yeah, it was so sunny here today. I wanted to get out, but I'm packing for my trip and trying to remember everything. Today I was charging my Apex and headphones and trying to get all that packed in the suitcase and ready. And trying to figure out, since my TV show premiere on Beyond Oak Island airs while I'm on the cruise ship, trying to figure out how to
Could you
how to do that.
FaceTime with me and I can like
That that might have to be. So I'm trying to figure out. It's really ridiculously priced just to get Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi will only cover like social media. So I don't think it's going to do me any good to do that. So I still don't know what to do. So that I don't even know if I'd be able to FaceTime you. So I was checking online earlier to see if they have the History Channel, and they said that they can't guarantee they have certain channels, but it depends on where the ship is during that time. If I'd be able to even get, it didn't even mention the History Channel, so it's certain channels that they, I guess, have available for you to watch. So I may not be able to watch it, but if y'all get to watch it before me.
I know. Oh, jeez.
On the History Channel on the 18th, I think at 9 p.m. That may be Eastern. I'm not sure. You can Google it and find out, I think. Anyway.
That's so exciting, though. That. It's exciting, but it stinks you won't be able to. Hopefully you can join in and watch it live while the rest of us are as well.
I hope so. And what's really, it's kind of nerve-wracking because who knows what parts they're going to cut, what parts that, what they're going to. I mean, there's probably things that I detected and dug that they're probably not even going to show. And it's always interesting to see, what they keep, and what, people don't realize what all goes into. Well, I mean, you kind of got an idea when you're out metal detecting, and we're uploading a lot of the YouTubers and people that know all the other stuff that goes in. When you narrow it down to a 10, 15-minute video, you're really doing a lot of editing, and people don't see all the, the ongoing stuff, and they don't see all the trash you dig. They don't see all that. But I can understand how nerve-wracking it must be for these TV shows,
mm-hmm.
to all the editing and stuff they have to do. And not to mention, well, we'll talk about that another one. After it airs, we'll have a whole conversation. We can do a
absolutely.
Conversation.
Absolutely.
So anyway, yep, Wayne's right. After it airs, may be able to find it on YouTube. And I'm going to talk to my buddy Mark and see if he can get it to where I could post something on my channel. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should go ahead and welcome in our guest. What do you say?
That sounds good.
I'll let you. I'll probably butcher his name, so I'll let you introduce him.
All right, everyone, give a warm welcome to Gregg Papallo.
How you guys doing?
Greg.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
No, I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Well, we're excited to have you as our very first guest as the Treasure Vortex. That is just super exciting, and you're our very first guest on here, and we're really thrilled to have you. And I know we're going to talk about a little bit of Florida Hunt 8 coming up, but before we get to that, we'd like to get to know you a little better. So we've got a few questions for you. First of all, go ahead and tell us where you're from, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, originally I'm from Connecticut. I grew up in Connecticut, and I left to move to Florida in 1999, and that's where I've been, down here enjoying the Florida winters since 1999.
You escaped the cold.
Yeah, and I don't miss it. I still have family in Connecticut, and my brother wants me to visit, but I told him it won't be in the winter.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, we went up there to visit, and it's changed a lot, and, got to eat some real good, Italian food up there, because it's hard to find, authentic in Florida, even though they say it's authentic Italian food, but, I am a food person, so.
Yeah. And we do have some good food up here. You have to. You
Yeah.
gotta, to stay warm in the winter, it's gotta be
Yeah.
hearty meals.
And we literally spent the whole last trip we were up there going to the hot dog spot, to the pizza spot, and then going down to the coast to eat lobster rolls. That was the extent of our visit.
Food. It was all
so.
food.
Yeah. I gained 10 pounds. It was like being on a cruise.
Too funny. So, how long have you been treasure hunting?
I've been metal detecting since I started maybe around 2002. Had I think it was an Ace 250, and kind of played around with it a little bit when I first had it, and then I had to move and had to sell some stuff, and of course, since I wasn't finding anything good and got aggravated, like a true newbie, I sold that, and several years later, I was up here. Met my wife, and we were talking about something, and she knows I love history, and then I read an article about metal detecting, and there was somebody local, and of course, I think the detector I bought was a White's Prism 5. And of course, I said the guy I wanted to go to the beaches, but it really wasn't made for beaches. But I ended up finding some cool stuff, and and then from there, I just kind of, made the adjustments and to various metal detectors, over the years. But so yeah, since about 2007, I really got into it. I was on, TreasureNet because we didn't have Facebook. I don't even think MySpace was out yet. You had the forums, which, are still in use today, but, went to one of my first Florida hunts because, it wasn't called the Florida hunt back then, but the guy who used to put on a hunt here in Florida, that's, when I started really getting into metal detecting.
So was there a local treasure club that had originally put that on, or how did you get involved in your area?
No, it was just a TreasureNet thing. Guy had it was like the Florida Gathering, and every year they would do a hunt in Missouri. I think there was some kind of trail, the Chisholm Trail.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that rings a bell. Yeah, they would do a hunt out there once a year, and then they would do one in Florida, and you're only talking 20 to 25 people max. It was a really small group, and a lot of folks were still friends today. Some people still use the old forums and pop on there, but most of us are on Facebook. So,
right. I remember the old forums. I used to hang out in those too, way back in the day, and it's amazing where technology has taken us these days. And boy, I wish I would have gotten into YouTube that far back. I would be a lot further along, I'm sure, when YouTube first started going, but I was a little late to the game. But hey, well, that's exciting. So tell us a little bit more. What detector are you using now?
Well, started out with originally it was an Ace 250, and then I ended up, when I came to Gainesville, I got the Whites, and then what did I get after that? Oh, then I got an AT Pro, and I had that for about 9-10 years. Old Faithful.
Awesome.
It is. Found my first silver with the AT Pro. Not my oldest coin was with the Whites, but I really think somebody planted that in a hunt. But that's a whole nother story. It was an 1851 large cent that I found at one of the hunts at a campground, and I'm like, it was like 4 inches under the ground, and I was like, no, did somebody plant this? And I'm looking around. That is my oldest coin to date, but it was found with the Prism. But then I got the AT Pro, and I had that for the longest, and then I got the Max. And cause I like to have a little variation because, I like a lot of times when I go out to places, I'll bring an extra metal detector.
Right.
And And in case the homeowner, or sometimes I'll have friends that'll come along, and at one point I had my daughter help me. I was hoping that eventually she would get the bug, but not so much yet. But she's back living with us. She's 18, so hopefully she'll kind of get into history, helping me out here with my event, and maybe helping me make my videos again. But and then I got after the AT Max. What I did was I ended up getting rid of the AT Pro. And then I had another metal detector that I won, so I had sold that kind of, you got too many metal detectors, and something new comes out, you got to sell something so you have space, or so, hey, see, I'm making an effort to get rid of something so I can get something. So then I got a MindLab 800, Equinox 800, and that's the one. Between that and the Max are what I use. I kind of depends.
That's
most
awesome.
most time I'm using the Equinox 800. But I work in 2 jobs. I don't detect as much as I would like to, but luckily I'm in Florida, so during the summer I try not to detect unless it's private, like a private yard or something. I haven't really door knocked because I don't have to, more or less, because I spent about 9 months working on my event. So the other few months that I do have, my part-time job is at Home Depot. I work full-time with my wife. We have a state licensed daycare home. So we have 12. We're licensed for 12 children. Right now we're at 12 children, and we've been open through COVID and everything. And we have 12 children in the house. My wife calls me the 13th child. So that's a true story, and she'll tell you that in Florida, honey. Yep. And in my part-time job, and I've been at Home Depot for 15 years. Like, I have people come up, and I work in the paint department. I'm painting my old house. First thing out my mouth is, how old? Oh, well, it was built in 1920. Oh, really? Hey. And that's almost 95% of all my permissions have been from people at the paint desk. That's how Florida Hunt 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 have all transpired via customers at the paint desk of Home Depot. And you heard it here first. Yeah,
I love it.
people always wonder how I get the permissions. I don't have to door knock. I mean, I've got a couple of, I've got homes all over the place that I'm sitting on. It's just Florida's so dang big, and it takes you hours to drive to places. So sometimes you got to make a road trip out of stuff. So
Yeah,
you got to have the time to do that.
Right.
So and the weather's got to be decent.
Yeah, that's how I get my permissions, is just opening my mouth when I hear I've got that radar, that detector, that property detector going on all the time when somebody says, old house, property, yada, yada. That's what I listen for. And I'm like, oh, how old? Where's this at?
Yep.
It works. It definitely works.
Yeah, I mean, Gainesville itself was 1851, I believe. The University of Florida is here. So this area, you go in some of the neighborhoods and you use the map programs, and you can, that home was built in 1940, 1930, 1920. I mean, they're not super old like up in New England. I wish I'd gotten into metal detecting when I lived in Connecticut, but, it's a little bit harder down here. Like, a lot of the parks and stuff are off limits, and, you get into the state kind of, if it's something old and has a historical marker, you can't dig. So, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's a lot the way it is around here. And then Austin is, the parks and stuff is off limits unless you have a permit specifically for a lost item, stuff like that. So I try to stay out of that area and go to the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
So now you started with the ACE 250, and then you use a couple different detectors now. And tell us about the types of areas. Do you do any beach hunting, or is it mainly?
No, it's funny because I'll try to shorten the story for you. Well, I can't swim. I'm from Connecticut. As a child, I was 4 or 5 years old. I drowned as a kid, and my brother and sister, they got me out of the pool. So I kind of was afraid of water, and so I never really went into the water. But So beach hunting wasn't really my thing because I get in water and I get it's funny. I go on a cruise. I enjoy being on the boat, but you better tell me where all the life jackets are. I have like 5 life jackets in my room every time we cruise. One for each arm, one for each leg. No, not really. But I mostly, relic hunt, coin. I mean, I like to go somewhere old. Like I'll research an old area. Like right now, I'm researching an old town, and I'm using a map program that I have a subscription for to find an older map to mark, and then of course corresponded with Google, and then follow, the terrain and try to mark all these different old homes that were part of this town. But like I'll see, like an old yard, an old home or something, and I'll be like, hey, can I, just be lucky enough to, or like I said, the paint desk, how old's your house? Oh, most of the time, most of them are 1920 at the oldest. Once in a blue moon, because of some of the towns that are around Gainesville, you might get a home around the turn of the century, but you might get lucky to detect there. But I'm mostly like a relic person. I don't really coin shoot too much, but I'll take whatever I can get when I'm detecting. But I did go to the beach not too long ago. I didn't bring my detector because we were supposed to go to Georgia, but all the tornadoes that were coming through, I think it was last week. We were supposed to go to Dahlonega, Georgia, and I was supposed to go check out the gold mines. And, well, with all the tornadoes and bad storms, I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to spend 4 days of vacation after 2 years, just kind of sitting around in a hotel in the rain. So we went to South Florida and enjoyed 85 degrees for 4 days. So, but I saw the beach. And I was like, you know what? I really wish I brought my metal detector. And seeing how some of my friends, on Facebook are all going, hey, I found this ring. Hey, I found this cross. I'm like, you know what? They're not going deep in the water. So I'm like, they're going, knee deep at best or along the water, the whatever.
The shoreline, right.
Yeah. So I'm like, heck it. Yeah, I can't drown in that. So, I may try it. We're planning another trip down south to one of the beaches. After that Beyond Oak Island, debut episode, I was like, man, I got to hit the beaches now.
Right. That's one thing, when I first got into metal detecting after I moved away from East Texas, I got into surf hunting and beach hunting and all that. It's still not I love beach hunting and I love finding the rings and the jewelry and stuff, but I'm like you, and I know Amanda is too. I love the history. I like to dig the historical items, the old stuff. But that's why I just can't go anywhere anymore. And the few times that I didn't have my detector with me, I just could have kicked myself, because if you decide you're not going to bring your detector, inevitably it will pop up, an opportunity will pop up, and you'll be like, why didn't I bring my detector?
Yeah, there was a matter of fact, my daughter comes back to the hotel. She's like, oh, Dad, there's a guy metal detecting on the beach. And I put my shoes on. I try to go see who it was. Maybe it was somebody I knew. And, of course, I bought flip-flops at the last second, and I'm not much of a beach person. Yeah, that flip-flop didn't last too long, got sucked into the mud, and then the strap broke. So that was my beach excursion. Yeah. I have to get some water shoes or something.
Yeah. Amanda, in the areas where she even mudlarks, you almost need some rubber boots and stuff. She knows about getting sucked in, don't you, Amanda?
I do. I do. Apparently they've got mud walkers or whatnot. They look like those old moon shoes from like the 80s. I should get a pair of those or construct a pair. But yeah, the flip-flop thing, I've done the same thing on the beach. Like, all right, I don't have to wear the sneakers. I don't have to wear the boots. I'm going to do the flip-flop. And yeah, I kicked myself doing that, detecting. I'm like, silly.
I was just walking. It wasn't even detecting. I was just walking, and my daughter, we were looking at seashells, and I'm looking, going, hey, maybe there'll be a gold coin. Someone washed up on the beach. And nope, all you heard was that sucking sound, and then there was my shoe.
Wow. Yep, that definitely happens. So, if you don't mind, Gregg, tell us a little bit more about the upcoming Florida 8 hunt. I know I think you're in charge of a lot of that. I'm sure y'all have a team, but if you don't mind, just go ahead and tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure. Okay. Well, yeah, it was a Home Depot thing. A customer of mine, we were talking, and he said he had a farm. And, of course, just like a home, you go, how old is it? And where is it? And the particular area that it was in, doing my research after I talked to him the first time, and I said, well, he had 300 acres, give or take. I said, well, hey, you ever had anybody metal detect out there? I said, and it was a veterans retreat, and vets spend 4 or 5 days out there. They can hunt, fish, depending on the time of year, just hang out. It's kind of like their home away from home. And excuse me. So after talking to him, I did a little bit of research on the property, and dates back to DeSoto fighting Indians in 1539, where like thousands of Indians were, and Melrose, the area that it's in, is known for its Indian burial mounds, which are obviously off limits, but some people may have them in the middle of the woods you won't know, on their property, because it is a very rural community. It's about 30 minutes away from Gainesville, give or take, depending on which way you go. It's a straight shot for me past the Gainesville airport. And actually the road, once you get into there, the road that goes into Melrose was actually one of the first highways in the state of Florida. It was called Bellamy Road. It went from, I believe, from like St. Augustine area all the way up to the state capitol. And took several years to make this road. So, between the Indians, and then obviously they were building this road, then the Civil War happened. And then we had some troop movement, from when the federal troops had gone through the area to go to Gainesville, and then went down to, and then for the Battle of the Lusky, there wasn't too many, there wasn't too many, major engagements. Florida's only had a handful of engagements. So it's like, the phone is ringing in the background. But, what happened was, this was Florida Hunt 8 will be the third. There's somebody who answered the phone. There we go. This is the third installment. Normally my hunts only we'll do it like a one time. We go to a location one time, and then next year we have another one. The Florida Hunt, to go back, the Florida Hunt series started. It wasn't called Florida Hunt in the beginning. It was like the Florida Gathering through Treasure Net. And after like the second one, we started piggybacking each other. Like the other gentleman, Bobby, would do one, then I would do one. So he would do 2, then I would do 3, and then I started calling him the Florida Hunt. And then I did 3, 4, then he did 5, then I did 6, 7, and 8. And that's where we are, several years later. But that, I've pretty much more or less taken over doing them yearly now. But the last 3, Florida Hunt 6, Florida Hunt 7, and then Florida Hunt 8 obviously is coming up this, in about a month, a little over a month, are all at the same retreat for the veterans. All the proceeds, the entry fee, numerous vendors of like last year, and then a lot of them have stepped up this year, and there's new vendors that have stepped up this year, and some of them are doing raffles. And there's a few things that haven't been discussed on the page yet. I know Mine Lab's got a little something for the seeded hunt going on. And I know KG, I'm not sure if KG and Ringy are going to put any kind of tokens in the ground for something special. I know Gary Penta has something going on that he's going to put in the ground. We've got Cannon Beach Treasures. They're going to be putting special tokens in the city. Now, this is another thing. I've never done a seeded hunt at any of my events. My events have always been known, and that's why they became popular, was because I do natural hunts. I get somewhere that's got some historical value one way or the other. And, over time, these events have gotten popular. And like last year, it got popular because I was the only event in the whole United States. So
Wow.
Florida Hunt 7 was the only thing going on. And, then we had, Nokta sent over one of their reps from Turkey. He had to jump through all kinds of hoops to get here for Florida Hunt 7. He had a good time. I believe he was at Digstock as well, Barack. I'm not sure if you met him up there. But
Probably.
Florida Hunt 8,
Yeah.
Florida Hunt 8 is probably the largest as far as, without, it seems, like last year we did have a lot of people sign up. The problem was they were, so a lot of people were scared, kind of scared of COVID. So, and I respected that. And, and so a lot of some people sign onto the page just to kind of follow it. And I've had a few people say, hey, don't kick me off the page because I can't go. And, we're not that kind of group. We're not like some elite hunt that you can only be on the page if you're hunting with us or if you're attending. So we like people to follow the event. A lot of people do live streams and you'll see YouTube videos on there. But, this Florida Hunt 8, I believe this is going to probably, this is the last event that we're going to do at that particular location, at least for now. Because problem is, I've had a lot of naysayers, this is the third time out there, and like I said to you earlier, we started out with Florida Hunt 6 with about 300 acres. We only hunted the camp area where they used. And then Florida Hunt 7, we gained another 200 or 300 acres, which barely anybody went down to because it's so large. And, the area is quite large, to get to where you need to go. But this year we've incorporated some golf carts, and we're going to have some people getting, kind of driven around a little bit. If you want to jump on the golf cart, we'll bring you to the other side of the field or whatever.
Oh, that's nice.
Then Florida Hunt 8, he says, "Oh yeah, I got another. We're using some of their hunting ground that they lease." And he's like, "Oh, it's like 300 acres." Well, I measure out, and he's like, "Well," and then I send him the map, and I say, "Is this good? Is this the outline?" He's like, "No, you got to go farther down." And I'm like, "Dude, that's my math skills aren't that good, but that's more like 400 acres or more." So we're close to 1,000 acres right now, and there's a lot of older properties that kind of incorporate around that area. That the actual town of Melrose has over, I forget, 60 or 70 historical buildings, like homes. So you get out into these outskirts, when you look at some of the older maps, a lot of people have been starting to look at older maps of the area because you'll see, there was an old plantation farm, something. I don't want to say it was a full plantation. It might have been an older home, but somebody came up to me with an 1830s map, and there was a home and a field that were marked on the map for the hunt site.
Wow.
And then a lot of people have been doing, their research, on some of the areas. And now that I've expanded the map, they're kind of like looking at that. But, it basically is almost like a big letter C square C, because there is a small neighborhood with an old church and some other stuff we kind of go around it with the property. Now, next week I'll be going out there. I can go in there anytime I want, more or less, to kind of do what I need to do. But, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to mark a trail that brings you out to the main site, or to the new site area, because they don't want to. You can probably drive a car on some of the side roads, but they just don't want to have people driving down these dirt roads and get stuck. And because if you go around the back way, you might get stuck in the dirt. So. But we're gonna have people, bringing people over there. Most people, honestly, the seated hunt, the size of the field that I'm using, it's not going to be like a 200 square. I've never done a seated hunt, so I don't know. All I know is I'm using probably a 50-acre field for a seated hunt. So
right.
they're gonna get their legwork in, because we're gonna have tokens for detectors. Silver coins. There may be, like I said, Canopy's Treasures. I'm not sure if they're going to do their tokens like on the actual field itself or probably the seated event, but I have to touch base with them. But there's going to be silver, gold, and obviously your regular U.S. coins and like Indian heads and some other stuff that, but the tokens will be for all the silver coins and the prizes. But this by far is probably, and it's all for the veterans. And, that's why we've kind of upped the ante a little bit. And people were like, well, why do we raise the money? I said, well, this is the last event that we're going to have for this particular location. And, we want to kind of go out with a bang. But moving forward, I've kind of been not so much recruited, but we plan on, they plan on putting several, Camp Freedoms, or it might go by another name, several, Soldier Freedom Outdoor locations in, say, like South Carolina. So we're looking at several hundred acres in South Carolina to hold an event probably next year, so that they can raise money to build a camp there. So we're not kind of like Camp Freedom, Soldier Freedom Outdoors. We're not stopping to assist them. We're just kind of moving along and hopefully trying to help them expand a little bit with another event somewhere else. So that'll bring more people in, and it's a new spot in South Carolina. There's got to be some Civil War stuff there. So they were pretty excited about the property there. I know it's several hundred acres. He goes, how much property do I need? So he's got a lot of friends up there that they hunt with, and so I'm not sure of the area, but that's one thing is down the road you may see something about that, and hey, that could be a future show down the road. South Carolina won. I don't know. I may have to come up with a catchier name than the Florida Hunt. The Florida Hunt sounds good, but South Carolina Hunt doesn't sound too good. May have to come up with something else.
Now, you said you have a seated hunt there during Florida, the Florida hunts, right?
Yeah, we're going to have, this is the first, well, I'm pretty sure we'll probably have to have more now. Once you have one, you got it. You can't stop. So it really all depends. I mean, if, like I said, we're going to have the seated hunt on Saturday, because it's a 3-day event. Friday is a meet and greet, kind of where everybody, we have a local. Last year we did it at one local restaurant to support a local business that was kind of hurting. And literally the guy couldn't, we closed that place down. He stayed open an extra hour. He had like every employee in the building working. They were working full time. But we're doing a different place that we had, like we did at Florida Hunt 6. It's an open air location. It's a small little, I don't want to say a mom and pop. It's called the One Love Cafe. And they have live music, and they have like little fire pits out there if it gets cold. But the last time we were there, we did have to use the fire pits. But you can kind of it's out in the open in case people were a little worried about being enclosed with other people. We encourage people if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Or whatever your preference is. We don't. We just want people to have a good time and come out, meet people. Say some history and raise some money for a really good cause. So, but the seated hunt, it's going to be, we're going to, like I said, tokens for coins, prizes. I know, and we're going to have numerous raffles, and I know there's going to be some extra tickets, tokens for tickets, I think, to get you extra entries into some of the raffles. And the raffles really, I've got a lot of folks that really step up. Because I pretty much, my wife and I do this. It's us. We're not, I reach out to the companies to, support us with donations, and I reach out to some veterans company. We got like Black Rifle Coffee. They sent us like $500 worth of coffee last year. It was crazy, and we were giving out coffee left and right. And this year, I believe they're sending something, and a local veteran-owned shirt company here in Florida that makes plaques for soldiers and law enforcement that are deceased, whether it's in combat or in the line of duty. The problem is now they were going to come to my event, but they're down to half staff because of COVID, so they're just going to send us some stuff to give away, and some e-gift cards for people to use on their website. But they said maybe next year, hopefully, stuff kind of levels off and we don't have the craziness that we have, and a lot more folks can get out to some of these events. Because I know a lot of folks want to go to these events, but, You just gotta do what you gotta do to stay safe, you know.
Yep.
Right. Definitely. So I had a question also for you, Gregg. Now, some of the property, is some of it like plowed fields? Is it grass?
Oh yeah, you've got plowed fields. You've got there's what we did this year. We've got. Let me see if I can pull up the map. Every year, at least for the last 3 years, I've changed this map. Let me look here on my laptop here. We named one after we named one field after a local soldier from Melrose that died in Afghanistan. We named one field after Dan, the owner and proprietor of Sort of Freedom Outdoors and Camp Freedom, after his mom, because she recently passed away from cancer this past year. And she was all about the veterans. She was like the mother to so many of them. And let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, there we go. All right, so the one field, we've got 4 actual like open fields, like they're actual fields with and mind you, this camp is they have equine therapy for soldiers that have brain injuries and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. The horses are the highlight of this hunt. Every year, you can literally walk up to the fence, and the horses. I mean, there was a picture. I believe Mark Hoover had a video of. I think it might have been Florida Hunt 6, and you see a person metal detecting out in the distance, and then here comes the I don't know. I'm not a horse person, but I don't know what you call when you get a whole bunch of horses running. I know cattle's a herd. I don't know what you would call a bunch of horses, but stampede. I mean, you can hear them running, and it was like maybe it might have been 10 or 12 horses, but it was early in the morning, and they just came running through the field, and they just like stopped, and it was like the coolest video. I gotta see if I can find that somewhere. I believe Mark Hoover had it, but and then we have several wooded areas. There's 3 distinct wooded areas, and then the new field I named them after. Hang on, let me go back this way. I named we named 2 of the new wooded areas after a lustee for the Battle of the Lustee, because it's Florida. I had to come up with something. I had to come up with a name and kind of give the general area. So people, you may not know where you are. The best is to have some kind of map program. We will try to mark some of the trails as you go into those areas. And then obviously the last 2 parts that I have, one of it is kind of a sandy field, and I named those after a place when I was in the Army at Fort Benning, Georgia. There's a place called Sand Hill, and the other one was called Harmony Church. And I kind of named those 2 parts of the field after that. And then there's a couple other fields that we named. The other one was named after someone's grandfather who was part of Merrill Marauders and D-Day. They were part of the Special Forces / Rangers of World War II, and they when they were invading Normandy. And then we have a field that we named after. I'm not sure if any of your listeners may know, and I'm pretty sure Gypsy and Amanda, you may know Gary Penta.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, we actually named one of the fields after his son. Because his son served. His son was in the Marine Corps and died when he was working in Iraq. I believe it was Iraq.
Wow.
I believe it was Iraq. So and I always tried to. Give significance. Like last year, we named all the fields after the beaches of D-Day. You had Omaha Field, you had Juneau Field, and then the year before that, at Florida Hunt 6, we were kind of just generic. It was Alpha and Bravo. We had a military theme. But this year was special because I knew this was the last year that we probably would be at this field, at least for a little bit. So we put a personal touch on a lot of the fields with, naming the fields after people that people can connect to it. And, when you're out there finding a piece of history or something and it may not be directly related to the person that the field's named after, but you're like, you know how it is when you're out in the middle of nowhere or something, and you find something, and you're like, man, how'd this get here? And then you do your research on it, and you're like, whoa,
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's just something about Camp Freedom. When you're out there, and you'll see, it's just when you see the water, and you see the dock, and you're just out there, and then the breeze is blowing, and the horses come up or something, or you're out in the middle of the field in nowhere, and there might be 300-400 people out there, but you won't see any of them because they're all over the place, and you just and I'll tell you what, you never know what you're going to find under there. People pulled everything from late 1700s to obviously like 19, late mid 1900s coins, silver coins and stuff, but yeah, I don't know. I'll always go out there and visit even afterwards. Dan and I become really good friends. So, we've kind of, we have that bond now, and being a veteran, I haven't gone out to the camp to stay for 4 or 5 days. I can't afford to because I'm too busy with 2 jobs, but, I
Right.
try to, and they got a cool cowboy church they're trying to build out there for the vets and stuff. And, last year we had some detectors donated so that the vets wanted to learn how to detect. But most of them just come out there to kind of hang out, chill, and, have a good time. And as a matter of fact, I think a couple of the ladies that are coming from Illinois, I believe, I met them one retreat weekend. I stopped in and I said something about metal detecting, and you know what? They knew each other, but they didn't know each other, but they both were from the same general area. And I mentioned metal detecting, and they both were like, oh, I have a metal detector. They looked at each other, and the other one said, I have a metal detector. I'm like, you guys didn't know you each had a metal detector? It is like you both know each other. You see, now you got metal detectors. Now when you go home to Illinois and it's nice and warm, you can detect. And I think, matter of fact, if not both, I know at least one of those ladies is coming to Florida Hunt 8 for the event.
It's awesome.
So that's kind of cool.
That is so neat.
And yeah.
Well, it's always I
get pretty passionate about, when we do the event out there. So.
Right, I bet.
It's a good feeling.
And it's such a great cause and brings a lot of people together. I really love the T-shirts that y'all did this year. I went ahead and ordered one.
No, that wasn't me. That was Gary. Gary is a man. That man is he calls me a machine because I'm always on the go. I'm like, no, you are a machine, because between his miniatures and everything, he has time to make me flyers, and he had time to make me, he did the shirts, and the shirt sales are going. He's going full steam. I haven't even put my order in, so I got to make sure I get my order in. So it's it comes with for
Gary is amazing. I don't know how he does all the art.
I don't know either.
It blows my mind. And he can do it all in one day. You'll see him post. He has an idea, and then he just goes with it, and then he's posting some beautiful artwork. He did one of me, a little miniature that he had sent me, and it's in a package. I don't know how he did it. I haven't posted in a long time. I'll have to post a photo. It's amazing. He is so talented.
Yeah, he gave me the car last year that everybody wanted. It was car with all the YouTube stickers on it. This year he's got the Jeep that they're raffling off. It's a military Jeep, and it's got all the YouTube stickers. I believe yours is on there as well. He had listed on the page, people like people attending if they had a YouTube or if they had a company or something. But yeah, the stuff, I can't thank, my vendors and honestly, a lot of the people like Gary that step up, Mark Hoover, we, like this year we're having, two different, we're having another gold, a $5 gold coin, I believe this year is getting raffled off. Last year, Ron from thegolddigger.com, he raffled off a $2 gold coin. It was 18 something. They raised almost $3,000. It was almost $3,000 in raffles for that coin.
Holy moly, that's crazy.
Well, it was actually, let me stand corrected. It was about $2,700, and then he said, "You know what? I'll round it up and we'll make it $3,000." Wow. Mark and Gary had about the same amount of money, and Mark Hoover, who does a watch every Florida Hunt, Mark Hoover, he always has an awesome Invicta watch for me to raffle off. And last year he blew out the water. I think he raised like 2,000. Yeah, the first year Florida Hunt 6 we raised about $700. Was it? No, it could have been that. No, it was more than that. But what it is Home Depot will match me up. No, that's right. We raised $2,400. That's what it was.
Wow.
And then Home Depot, once a year, that's why I always do it in February as well, because it's a little bit nicer down here for the people in the cold. And that's, the anniversary when I can once a year I can put in a request for it's called the gift program. And they match you dollar per dollar up to $3,000.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And then, so that year we raised like almost 7,000 after Home Depot donated their 26, whatever it was. And then last year, when I thought we blew it out the water, we had raised almost 19,000. Yeah, almost $19,000 between all the entry fees. Now, mind you, it was only $50 for people to come to my event last year, and it was still a 3-day event. Everybody kept on telling me it's too, you need to raise it up.
That is too cheap. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this year I put up to 100, and we did have a few people complaining about it, but you know what? It's all for a good cause, and those that are there to support you are there to support you and your cause, and and I appreciate everybody. But this year, last year, and after Home Depot donated, it was almost $23,000 that we raised. We're probably almost half of that already, with outside donations being done, and obviously people, with the PayPal, people have the option to pay early, and then we're sending you your waiver early. And then I had a friend of mine make a high def map, like a little bit better quality colorized map. My friend Brandon, who I've known since the Treasure Net days, he's been a big supporter of my event. He makes me a new map every year and kind of makes it look a little better. So I don't know, Gypsy, you should have gotten one. I don't know if you're on the email list, but if not, let me know and I can have Shelly send you the waiver, because people are signing the waiver electronically, so that people don't have to worry about getting it. Yeah, and then getting the map.
Yeah, I don't think I got that yet. I just in the group kind of looked at stuff.
Yeah, and then I know the name. Then we have the lady making the name badges, so I know I saw your name on that list. So I'll check with Shelly and I'll make sure, if not, I mean, it's no big deal. So,
I'm
we have
excited about going.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. And I didn't know about the Jeep and the stickers, but I'll be bringing not only my Zero Discrimination YouTube stickers, but I'll be bringing a whole stack of the Treasure, our brand new, the Treasure Vortex.
Yeah. Now, here's my other question.
Stickers.
Here's my other question, because I mean, I don't have your email, so I don't think I emailed you directly, but I did email a few others. KG and Ringy usually have their own little. Did you want your own table set up, or were you going to stick around with them at the Garrett booth? Because I think they're going to be at the Garrett booth.
Usually I just stick around the Garrett booth. Now,
no, that's fine.
In the future, hopefully Amanda will be able to join me at more of these.
And then you guys can have your I have several different, like I've got my bestest buddies, Shelly and Dawn from Can You Dig It. They have their own booth this year, but like last year they stuck around, the Detector America booth. But I'm like, I always tell people, whatever you guys want, I'll get you. So, moving forward, whether it's South Carolina or Florida, or you never know where I could be next, popping up an event. But whatever. So I'm just trying to make sure that we get you in the right spot. So I know a lot of people are excited to meet you. I can tell you that. I mean, this year by far, KG and Ring have been big supporters. The Florida Hunt 6, they couldn't make it. They sent some swag. And some really cool stuff that we gave out, and actually for Florida Hunt 5 as well, I believe. And Florida Hunt 7 was when they came, and we had a lot of people sign up, and we had a boost in the sign. I mean, we just added like another 40 people to the page in the past 3-4 days. And I still have notifications, but I try to get them within reason. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people excited. This is you guys. The lineup we have this year is second to none, and the best lineup we've had at any Florida event that we've had. So we're excited, and Dan's excited out of Camp Freedom, and we're actually opening up. Well, we always do a radio spot. There's a local radio station that supports Camp Freedom and Soldier Freedom Outdoors. Dan will be doing a radio show. Of course, it's 5:30 in the morning, so I don't usually make it because I'm in a coma at that point. But I might try to make it this year. But Gary made me some little flyers, and Shelly made a flyer, and I'm going to try to reach out to the local newspaper and a few others and try to put it up in some libraries and some of the surrounding area, because we've always been open to the public, but we're really trying to push, try to get people to come out and learn about metal detecting, and like, hey, Gypsy from Beyond Oak Island's here.
Yes.
And it's funny because I asked for the last month, I've been asking people I work with, my store manager, everyone, you watch Oak Island? You watch Beyond Oak Island? Because I remember watching it last year, and they're like, no, I don't know. What's it about? And I'm like, because I'm known as a treasure hunting guy. Every new hire at Home Depot, if you want to learn about metal detecting, go see Gregg at the paint desk. It says it on my little, because I'm a new hire coach. So it says that in there. And besides that, and besides ghost hunting and everything else, but
that is too cool. That is awesome. Well,
yeah, but no, everybody's excited.
I also shared the little thing that you put the special guests with myself and Gary and the Diggers. I shared it in the Beyond Oak Island group, Facebook group.
Very cool. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that have been. I'm looking and going, do we have mutual? I'm like looking for people as they're coming in, because we have 2 questions that people have to answer. So if you guys are listening, if you're trying to get into the event page, make sure you answer, have you been to an event, and do you plan on coming? Because we had a problem last year, because last year we for a little bit, not in the beginning, we had people thinking it was a hunting event.
Oh.
So we had people, yeah. So we're like, no. So we had to change the logo to have the words metal detecting in it, and then it kind of slowed down a little bit. So, but we've had some people that we haven't accepted. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and that is, if you're a gun enthusiast, we always do a gun raffle every year too. Camp Freedom has some sponsors, and they sponsor and they donate last year last year was a handgun. Florida Hunt 6, they had a turkey shotgun. I'm not much of a hunter, but I know it was for hunting turkey. And yeah, so, and they had a bunch of other raffles that they do, but I probably spend a couple $100 on raffle tickets. I never win anything, but it's all for a good cause, and that's the important thing. So
I think this year's the first year I've won raffle tickets, or the end of last year, so I'm hoping it carries over.
Yeah, I'm just not lucky that way. I end up blowing my money, and then I'm broke. My extra money that I'll bring for stuff.
And the raffle tickets are reasonable. Like, we have one guy who does a lot of woodworking stuff. He made me a 3-ringer last year out of wood, and it's about 12 inches by like 5 inches. It's really cool. I use it as a table weight, and then he made a walk. I think we're going to raffle. We may give out one of the canes, and we're going to raffle the other one. That's really too cool. It looks like something out of Lord of the Rings, but it's like all warped and wrapped. And, like I said, and we've got a gold nugget from Alaska. Chuck Smalley went up to Alaska. He's raffling off. I don't know how big the gold nugget is, but it's going to be in a bezel. They're raffling that off. It's just, everybody's, last year I got stuck doing raffles, and I didn't get to move around too much. So I said, if you're going to have a raffle, you got to man it.
Yeah.
So, and that was the one thing. My poor wife was at the registration table / little tent thing we had for 6 hours. Luckily, we were right next to the porta potties, so she didn't have to go too far. But we will have some awesome barbecue again this year. So
wonderful.
Yeah,
well,
everybody loves the barbecue.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, hopefully, if it's not too late, maybe Amanda and I we can put together a little prize package and I can plant a token out there somewhere for a
Sure.
little treasure vortex, and then I'll probably do one myself. Sometimes Garrett gives me like a token too, but I'll just go ahead and bring some tokens and prepare. But I'm really excited. We are actually, time has flown. It is now 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock y'all's time. So if you don't mind, could you tell everyone kind of if they're still interested, is there still tickets available?
Oh yeah, that's another thing is we don't have a cutoff. We don't have an attendance because I mean, with the size, I mean, right now there's granted there's over 450 people on the page, but if we see 300 of them in attendance, like last year we had 500 and so on there, we had about 350 show up, but a lot of people got sick at the last minute and didn't want to take a chance. So, and we kind of were like, listen, if you're sick, please stay home. But there's plenty of time here. Florida Hunt 8 is on his Facebook group. You request to join, and then just make sure you fill out those 2 questions. Have you been to a hunt, and do you plan on coming? Because there are people that are on the page that want to watch and see what happens. Because people, you have fans on there that are going to want to see what you do at Florida Hunt 8. You can't disappoint them. And KG and Ringy have a following, and Gary's got a following. And there's people that are just on there to follow. But, I mean, honestly, a lot of the people that are joining over the past month and a half are all new and all plan on attending. And I'm seeing states that we didn't have last year. Last year we probably had about 31 states and 2 countries. This year I think I've counted about 35 states already. And from as far California, Oregon.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's,
And
so
now,
all the way up to, we got some Canadians that were trying to sneak over the border yet because they couldn't last year. So we don't know if they're going to make it this year or not, but hopefully they do.
And now, when is the hunt going to be?
It's February 18th is the meet and greet. The main hunt is on the 19th, which is that Saturday. And then Sunday is kind of like a free-for-all hunt. You go back out to the property and you do whatever you want. There won't be any food. Some of the vendors stick around. Like I know Butch from American Digger magazine. He was there Saturday. They'll be there Saturday, and he stayed even around on Sunday. I know KG and Ringy were there on Sunday for a little while. But people kind of came and went, kind of come and go as you want. And then Dan had his tractor, and he would pull people around to the other side of the lake. And we were done by the afternoon. But then we had we had other places. Some people we brought from other places. We got permissions to kind of have people go to a few other spots, so we kind of were like running here, running there. I'm trying to work a few things out, possibly for Sunday. So I'll let you know as time progresses if we secure these other locations for Sunday. I mean, you may enjoy Camp Freedom and want to hang out there. So that's what happens. You kind of fall in love with the place and want to hang out there.
Awesome.
Sounds great. Well, I'm so looking forward to it. And if there's anything we can help you share, any information, just let us know. And we appreciate you coming on the show.
I appreciate the invite, and surely will. I'll try to share as we update the page or something comes up. I'll make sure I post it on the page as well.
Sounds great. Well, thanks again for being here tonight. You all, thanks for being here and joining us in chat. And we appreciate you all being here. Good night, all. We'll see you next time.
Good night, everyone. Have a safe week.
Good night.